My brother-in-law demanded a DNA test while my husband lay in a coma. He wanted to prove my son wasn't his nephew so he could inherit everything. The results confirmed more than just paternity. My husband Joel was driving home from work on a Tuesday evening when a truck ran a red light and hit him on the driver's side. He was in surgery for 9 hours. The doctor said he had severe brain trauma and they could not predict when or if he would wake up. They told me to prepare for the possibility that he might never come back. I sat by his bed every single day for 3 weeks. I held his hand and talked to him about our son Maddie, who was 8 years old. I told him about Maddie's soccer games and his spelling tests and how he asked about his dad every night before bed. I played Joel's favorite music on my phone. I read him the sports section from the newspaper because he always complained that I never cared about basketball. I did everything I could think of to bring him back. Joel's brother Frank showed up at the hospital on day 4. He stood in the doorway of the room and looked at Joel hooked up to all those machines. He did not cry. He did not even look sad. He asked me about Joel's life insurance policy. I told him I did not want to talk about that while my husband was still fighting for his life. Frank said I was being naive and that someone needed to think about practical matters. He said Joel had a lot of assets and we needed to figure out who would manage them if he never woke up. I asked him to leave. He left, but he came back 3 days later with papers. He said he talked to a lawyer about Joel's estate. He said that as Joel's only sibling, he had questions about the line of inheritance. He said specifically that he had concerns about Maddie. I asked what concerns he could possibly have about an 8-year-old boy. That is when Frank said he did not believe Maddie was Joel's biological son. He said Maddie did not look anything like Joel. He said Maddie had darker hair and different eyes. He said he always thought it was suspicious that I got pregnant so quickly after Joel and I started dating. He said I probably trapped Joel with another man's baby, and now I was trying to steal the family money. I could not speak for a long time. I just stared at him standing there in the hospital room next to his unconscious brother, accusing me of something so horrible. I asked him if he seriously came here to call me a liar and a cheat while Joel was in a coma. He said he was protecting his brother's legacy. He said Joel worked hard for everything he had, and Frank was not going to let some woman and her bastard child take it all. He actually used that word, bastard, about my son, about his nephew. He demanded a DNA test. He said if I refused, it would prove I had something to hide. He said he would get a court order if he had to. He said once he proved Maddie was not Joel's son, he would petition to have himself named as Joel's next of kin and take control of all the assets. I told him to get out. I told him if he ever came near me or my son again, I would call security. He smiled and said he would see me in court. Frank filed his petition 2 weeks later. His lawyer argued that there was reasonable doubt about Maddie's paternity and that a DNA test was necessary to determine rightful inheritance. My lawyer said it was ridiculous, but the judge agreed to hear the case because Frank presented it as a matter of protecting Joel's estate from potential misrepresentation. I was furious. I was exhausted. I was spending every day at the hospital and every night worrying about my husband, and now I had to deal with this greedy vulture trying to steal my son's future. But I agreed to the DNA test. I agreed because I had nothing to hide. I agreed because I wanted to see the look on Frank's face when he realized how wrong he was. I agreed because I wanted this to be over, so I could focus on my husband. The test was done at a certified lab. They swabbed Maddie's cheek and took a sample from Joel at the hospital. Frank insisted on being present for everything. He watched the whole process with this smug look like he had already won. The results came back in 2 weeks. We met at the lawyer's office to review them together. Frank sat across the table from me with his arms crossed, looking confident. His lawyer opened the envelope and read the results out loud. The DNA test confirmed with 99.97% certainty that Joel was Maddie's biological father. Frank's face went pale. He grabbed the paper and read it himself 3 times. He said there must be a mistake. He said the lab must have mixed up the samples. His lawyer told him the results were definitive and there was no grounds for appeal. I could have stopped there. I could have taken my victory and walked away. But my lawyer had done some additional research while preparing for the case. He discovered that Frank had been named in Joel's original will from before we got married. Joel left his brother 40% of his estate back then, but Joel updated his will after Maddie was born. The new will left everything to me and Maddie. Frank got nothing. Frank did not know about the updated will. He thought he was still getting 40% even if Maddie was proven to be Joel's son. He thought he would at least walk away with something. My lawyer handed him a copy of the current will. Frank read it and his hands started shaking. Full story on channel, link below.